Hi everyone, my name's Catherine Santoro, and I'm here today with my wonderful friend and colleague Sonja Parker, and we're going to do a short video, a short practice video on using or developing collaborative worry statements with families. And Son, maybe you can share with everyone why we decided to do this little video together.
Sure. Kath and I were talking about how very often when we are teaching practice and teaching the use of the CAP framework, we do demonstrations about how to develop a worry statement, how to develop a goal statement. And so we thought, let's do a whole series of little video clips, just short clips to show you the how-to. So that's our plan for today, short video about the how-to of worry statements.
Indeed. Okay, so let's dive in, Son.
All
Okay.
right. So, for people who know the CAP framework well, this is going to look very familiar to you. But others who don't know necessarily about the CAP framework, worry statements are one of the key components. And worry statements are the statements that help everyone, parents, young people, professionals, to articulate and to understand what people are worried might happen in the future if nothing was to change in the family. And so worry statements have got four components, and you'll see this arrow is designed to kind of break it down a little. The first bit is like, who's worried? Who holds this worry about this family, about these children and young people? The second's about the behavior. So what are you worried the parents will do or not do? Because not do in the context of neglect. The third is trying to pay attention to what context or circumstances this behaviour might happen within. So, what's the context that this worry may happen within? And then the final part is if the parents were to behave in this way, what are we worried would be the harmful impact on the kids?
Great. Thanks, Son. So here's another version of that arrow, and this is a visual I use a lot because I keep the four boxes in my head. This is how it looks like in my head. That's a bit scary, isn't it? So, as Son said, who is worried, and it can be the collective worries, not just the Child Protection Agency. The difficult times, the worries occur for me, and that also makes me think that parents are often doing really well in a lot of different contexts, but in some times or some situations where they're not coping well, or there's things that are impacting on the kids in negative ways. And then the worrying behavior. And when I see it in this box, then I realize it doesn't have to be linear like that. So
Yeah.
it helps me. But whatever works for you in the visual to help you keep it in your head, to write and develop worry statements, to script them, and to be able to say them quickly or talk to them quickly with parents is great. They're just visuals to help you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to use a little scenario today in developing our worry statement. Sonia's going to be the worker, and I'm going to be Susanna, the mum. And this family comprises of Susanna, mum, Bettina, who's 15 years old, Ben, 11 years old, and John, dad, who's 39. And the hospital child protection social worker called the Child Protection Service after Susanna brought Bettina to the emergency department with a cut to her forehead and a facial bruise and concussion caused by blunt force impact. So Bettina told the doctor she had a severe headache. Bettina also told the doctor that her dad had been drinking and pushed her while she was trying to stop him hitting her mum. Okay,
Okay.
so shall we go to the whiteboard?
Yeah, we'll go to the whiteboard. Also, what's wanted to say quickly, this video we're doing today is about developing a worry statement with a mum. We'll also do another video a bit later, because often in a supervisory position, you're in the position where you're wanting to support a worker in thinking through the worry statement. That's not what we're going to do today. We're not doing it with a worker. We're doing it with a mum, but we will do another
Yes,
video with a worker on another
for
occasion.
sure.
All right, let me open. Kath, have you just yeah, good. Got the whiteboard there.
Stop sharing. Right.
Fantastic. We just, Kath and
I'm
I, this is our
Susanna.
first, ta-da, this is our first experience in using the video and the whiteboard in Zoom in this way. So bear with us as we get the technology right. Okay, so I'm the worker. Susanna, thanks so much. I totally can imagine how stressful the last day or so has been for you. So thanks so much for making time to sit down and meet with me today. As we've talked about a little bit already together, that my job is to support you and your family in ensuring both the kids are safe in the future. And as part of that work together, I want us to get really clear about what people are worried might happen to the kids from the time Bettina comes home from the hospital, Ben is home with you guys. So I want to ask you to help me think through your worries, and we call this a worry statement. So I'm just really wanting to hear your views about that. So, okay, if I ask you some questions, and I'm going to write this up as we're talking together. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. And obviously I'll be asking you a lot of questions, but you pause me at any time if you're unsure about something. Yeah. Okay. So first thing I want to ask you is to think about the hospital staff that you've been dealing with over the last, it's just been just over a day now. What do you think, for the doctors that you've been dealing with, the nurses you've been dealing with, who've been caring for Bettina, what do you think is their biggest worry about what might happen if Bettina was to go home with you this afternoon, back to your home?
That she might get hurt again.
Okay, yeah. So should we say initially the doctors and nurses, yeah?
Mm.
The doctors and nurses are worried that. Now, when you say Bettina might get hurt again, what do you think they're worried might happen that could lead Bettina to get hurt again?
Oh, that she will try to step in between John and I when he's trying to hit me.
Okay, by step in, like if she was to step in, what would that look like? What do you think she would do?
I know what she did in this occasion.
Yeah.
Is she got between him when he had his arm up about to strike me.
Okay.
She put herself in front of me, which I didn't want her to do.
No, and I can't imagine that was easy for anybody. Awful situation to be in. And that's part of it's a big part of what we want to work to help you guys do, is make sure that nothing like that happens again. And part of that is trying to get it really clear about what are we worried about? What is everybody worried about?
Mm.
So worried that Bettina will try to step in and put herself in front of her mum.
Yeah.
Mum, now you said when John or her dad. Do you want me to write John? You want me to write her dad when her dad? Yep. Is
drunk.
Is drunk. Yep.
And tries to hit me.
So in tries to hit her, I just wanting to make sure that we're all understanding that as clear as possible, that when her dad is drunk and tries to hit you, does that happen? Does John try to hit you or actually hit you at times when he's not drunk, Susanna, or is it only when he's drinking?
It's mainly only when he's drinking. We've got a lot of financial stress at the moment. He's being sued by someone, his builder.
Okay.
And it's been going on for 12 months, and he's just been drinking more and more, and he's just, losing it all the time.
No, I'm so sorry that's happening. So I just want to make sure that we're capturing this as clearly as we can, but also as simply as we can. So the doctors and nurses are worried that Bettina will try to step in and put herself in front of her mum when her dad is drunk and tries to hit. Do you want me to write Susanna or her mum?
Yeah, you can just mum in brackets or something.
Hit mum, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Now, if that was to happen again, Bettina was to be home with you and John and Ben, John was to get drunk, try to hit you, and Bettina was to put herself in the middle and in front of you, what are you worried will happen to her?
That she will get hurt again, that she will get injured again, like she has this time. You know,
Again,
it
like,
like cut, concussion, and bruised. Yeah,
they
this is
said that, sorry, you please go.
because this is the first time it's happened like that. That this has happened. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. The doctors said to me, and I know that they said to you, that it was a very serious concussion she had, which is why she was staying overnight in the hospital. So is there a worry for you that it might even be worse than this? Worse than's happened this time?
Yeah. Look, I think in some ways this has really shocked John, that it
Yeah,
got to this point, because he
yeah,
took off straight away.
yeah,
And he always takes off after he gets angry and pushes me around, and that and he'll go down his brother's place for a while. But today he was really shocked. I think we were all shocked that it's got to this point. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I can't see him, doing this again. He was, yeah.
Yeah. If it was to happen, worst case scenario, it was to happen again. And as you're saying, the doctors and the nurses are worried about that. And we'll talk in a moment about who else might be worried about that. But you said that their worry will be she'll get, hurt again, like cuts, concussion, and bruises. Do you think that I guess my question to you is, do you think that the doctors and nurses would be worried that it could actually be more serious? Have they said anything to you about that Bettina could be injured even more seriously in the future?
No, they haven't.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Let's leave it at that for now. In terms of what might happen to Bettina, I'd like to come back to the top bit where we've said the doctors and nurses are worried. That's what you think. You think that the doctors and nurses are worried about this. Can I ask you if there's anyone else who's worried about this? Is this a worry that you have? Are you worried that Bettina?
Of course.
Okay, so we can add you there.
Yeah.
And what about others? John, is this a conversation you've had with John already? Is this a worry you think that he holds for the future?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. But he took off right after this. That's why I brought it to emergency. So I'm sure he does, but I wouldn't want to put words
in his mouth. No.
But I know he was shocked, but he still didn't stay and help.
So I won't put his name there, of course, until I've spoken to him and asked him about his worries. Is there anyone else that you think is also worried about this? Is this a worry that you think Bettina has, or that Bettina has for the future? Yep.
Of course.
Do we put Bettina there? Yep.
Yeah, and Ben.
And Ben. Yep.
And Ben's old enough to understand. He sees it all.
Yeah.
And he gets really frightened, and
absolutely. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment too. So the doctors and nurses, is there anyone else who you think is worried about this?
No one else knows what's going on.
They don't know at the moment?
No one knows. I keep it very well hidden. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's something that we'll continue to talk about as we go forward together. Can I also check with you, Susanna? We've talked about Bettina, like being worried that Bettina will try to step in. We haven't talked about Ben yet. So thanks for bringing Ben into our discussion. That's what I was wanting to do with you next. So do you also have a worry that Ben might try and step in some way?
No, because Ben just takes off and goes and hides it in his room. And John doesn't target Ben because he's younger. Bettina's at that 15-year-old girl stage where she's cheeky and she answers back and she thinks she's tough as anything. Whereas Ben's no. So I don't. And John's never hurt Ben. He's never hurt Bettina before. It was
either.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's not a worry for you that Ben might try and step in. But what about, you spoke a moment ago about how upset and scared Ben gets. So we've talked about how this could affect and impact on Bettina in a physical way, like she could get hurt again. But what about how it affects both of them emotionally? So
Yeah.
both Bettina and Ben, what have you seen in the past? And tell me, what's your worry for the future about if this was to happen with either Bettina getting hurt, or even if she wasn't to get hurt, but they were to see their dad hurting you? What's your worry about how it will affect them emotionally?
Well, they're becoming scared of John,
Yeah.
and the minute he ute drives up in the driveway, they take off to their rooms.
Wow.
Because, and if they think he's been to the pub and been drinking, they're out of there. They want to eat dinner early before he gets. So they're scared of him.
Yeah.
They're already scared of him,
So,
and
and
that's sad.
absolutely. So I've said here that Bettina and Ben will be scared of their dad and won't want to spend time with him. Is that some of what you're saying? Yep. Won't
Yeah.
want to spend time with him. Have you seen in the past it impacting them in other ways that you would worry would continue to happen in the future? Like obviously they're scared of him, not wanting to spend time with their dad. Are you seeing it impact them in any other ways?
Mm, it just, I think some changes in Ben fighting a bit at school, but that could be an age thing. No, I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it.
That would
Yeah.
be what you'd be worried if it was to happen in the future again, that this is how it would affect the kids. So let's just have a look back through this together, yeah? Susanna, Bettina, Ben, and the doctors and nurses at the hospital are worried that Bettina will try and step in and put herself in front of her mum when her dad is drunk and tries to hit mum, Susanna, and that Bettina, you tell me if you spot anything you think needs to be changed, let me know. Bettina will get hurt again, like cuts, concussion, and bruises, and that Bettina and Ben will be scared of their dad and won't want to spend time with him.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty spot on.
Does that capture it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything, Susanna, is there anything you want me to change there in terms of the words that I've used?
No.
No?
No. I like that.
If Bettina and Ben were here, would that be clear enough to them?
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just talk about next steps. And obviously, this is your view and your sense of Bettina and Ben's views, and the doctors and nurses as they've spoken to you and to me about their worries. What I would like to do next, of course, is talk to other people in the family, to John, Bettina, Ben, and hear their views, so that what we're doing is we're capturing a worry statement that is really clear about what people are worried might happen if this was to happen again. Yeah, is that okay with you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Cut.
Cut.
Back to ourselves.
All right.
Fantastic. All right. Just thinking, Son, maybe we could do a little bit of a quick appreciative inquiry. Say for you as the worker and for me as the mother, what that felt like. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do that. Let's do this.
Okay.
Ad
All right.
libbing.
Okay. Um, okay. Do you want? So for you as the worker, what's the most difficult or challenging thing when you're trying to elicit or develop a collaborative worry statement with a family member?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're doing this as a kind of quick little snapshot, so we're not showing all of the introductory
No,
conversations you'd be
that's
having,
right.
and we're doing it. So probably the hardest thing is you have to make a call about which direction do you want to go. Like, I could have asked Susanna, what's your biggest worry about what could happen in the future? I chose to go with what have the doctors and nurses said to you is their biggest worry. And that's purely an instinctive call in the moment. It's like, okay, let me start with the doctors and nurses' worries from mum's perspective and then come back to mum. So that was one. You have to make that call in that moment. That can be tricky. The other call I had to make, of course, was mum went with, she was worried Bettina would try and step in rather than focusing on being clear about the violence from John to the mum. And so in that instance, like, I kind of wanted to take the violence and have that right up front, that they're worried that John will hit mum and that Bettina will try and step in. On this instance, I went with what mum was saying because I thought we can still capture the seriousness of it. So I was guided by the way that Mum wanted to describe this. So that's the other thing you're having to try and think about. As long as the seriousness is captured, I think it's more important to use the words and the focus of the mum in this instance. Yeah.
So that's the part where you're developing it collaboratively, and it's not just us coming in and laying out our worry statement, even though
Absolutely.
we might have done some preparation before
Yeah.
about our worry statement, given the information we had before we met with Susanna. We might have written out, well, this is my worry statement, or I have the
Absolutely.
4 boxes in my head as I go
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the worry statement will end up being like that,
No, it
because it's
doesn't.
actually her words. But we
Exactly.
still, even though this was the way this mum did it, we still got it that Dad is drunk and when Dad is drunk, he hits Mum.
Absolutely. And we said try to hit Mum there, as Mum said, as Mum
Yeah.
said. And again, I
Mm,
thought, do I push that? And I thought, okay, let it be.
mm,
As you said, exactly. As the worker, I will have written down the worry statement from my perspective, and I would have had that I was worried that Dad will hit Mum and that Bettina will try and step in, blah blah.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
but this mum said very clearly she was worried that Bettina would put herself in front of the mum. So the mum was very clear about the seriousness of it.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's from my perspective as a worker. For Kath, for you as the mum here, what was your experience of this process?
I think it was slowed down nicely and allowed me, when I was in, the shoes of the mother, to actually slow down and think about it, and think about the future, and think about what I was worried about in the future,
Mm,
because this was the family crisis. So, and I'd kept it very hidden. As much family domestic
yeah,
violence is, it's very covert in the family and
yeah,
hidden. Um, so it allowed me to slow down. It felt, it was not judgmental at all. I didn't feel like anyone was judging me. You were just asking me about, you know, how I would like to word it, which was very respectful. I felt I owned this statement.
great, good,
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Um, One of the things that I was doing is I was moving from the past to the future. You'll have noticed me doing that a little. While the worry statement is very focused on the future,
Yes.
a few times I did take you to the past to help you think about what happened in the past to then bring you back to your worry for the future. Was that confusing at all for you?
No, I think what it did was try and surface what had gone on in the past, and then you got that bit of history about, look, there's all that financial stress going on in the
Yeah,
family, and
yeah,
so the violence has not been going on forever. It's a fairly recent thing, and it's
yeah,
linked
yeah,
to another
yeah,
dynamic in the family. So I think by surfacing that, you probably got a little bit of a clearer picture on how worried you
absolutely.
you needed to be as well
Yeah,
in this. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously, if we had the whole CAP framework, we'd be putting that information into the different parts of the CAP. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Um, Kath, we had talked about, we'll move to working with worry statements with professionals in the future, and we'll also move to goal statements. So this is a scenario we're going to keep working with in future
That's right.
videos. But you wanted to take us to a little exercise to finish?
Sure. Yeah. If you can close your screen off, we'll go back to the slides. Okay. Right. We want to leave everyone with a takeaway exercise for something to do. Can you see my screen, Tom?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, so you take it back to your teams, do it individually, but start feeling competent and confident with using worry statements. So the question is, in your team or individually, scale your skill and confidence in preparing and using worry statements with families and other professionals that you work with. Where would you rate yourself on the scale below? 10 is, I've got it nailed. Yeah, I do it all the time. I feel like it flows well. And 0 is, I'm new to using worry statements. I've never tried them, or I might have heard a little bit about them, but not use them. I haven't got the confidence and the skill to use them with families yet when I'm talking to them. So, what got you as high as your number on the scale? What are the good things that are already happening towards your skill and confidence in using them? What got you as low? And what are two things in the next week you could do to move up the scale by even one? So this is about inviting you to take some action and do, what can I do? And have a chat with your team or have a think about it individually. So that's kind of our parting gift
Fantastic.
to you, to get you thinking about being more proficient at using worry statements.
Fantastic. So, as we said earlier on in the video, Kath and I are going to do a whole series of little short video clips. We're going to try and keep them as short video clips, and we'll have those available in a number of places. So, they'll be on both of our websites here on the screen. We've got a YouTube channel, you'll be able to find them. Social media, we'll have them on our Facebook channels, or you may find them in training materials, but they're designed to help you both in your practice, in growing your practice and in sharing that practice with colleagues. So look forward to seeing you again on the Video Wise.
Thanks, Son. See you
Take
soon.
care. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.